Hey everyone, so today we are talking about sea moss. So, sea moss here, as you can see, this is actually a seaweed. It's not a sea moss at all. I had presented this in my last video for my herbal haul that you can go and see wherever I link it here. So now this is fresh out of the bag, so you can see it actually has lots of sea salt on it. That's kind of the cloudy white that you're seeing. You can actually see it on my fingers. I have sea salt. When you smell this, it actually smells like ocean. So this is about 4 or 5 ounces or so that I have here in the bowl. Even underneath, you can see where, look at all that sea salt. I don't know if you can see it, right? Hey everyone. Okay, so this is actually like a week later after I made my video, but I wanted to show you guys something because just in doing more and more research about sea moss and everything like that, I just want to mention a few things from my first video. So the sea moss that I have been getting has been sea moss from my local herbal store. They get a particular brand. I won't name what the brand is. I can't think of it offhand. I only know this batch in particular, what the bag looked like. And it had some like blue mermaid or something on the front. Anyways, it says from that brand that they are actually wild crafted off of the coast of Indonesia. But when people market things about their business, you take it with a grain of salt until you know for sure 100% about that brand. But anyways, sea moss is still sea moss, regardless if it's farm done or wild crafted. But a farm raised sea moss, which I think this might be, from my research so far, this might be a farm raised sea moss. Because I showed you in the bowl, like all the salts and everything like that. And I talked about, the texture and everything. But it seems as though that wild crafted may not actually look like this. Wild crafted may look more like this. So this here is from Jamaica Herbal. I'll link them down below. I'm not sponsored by them. This is an affiliate or anything like that. I mean, who knows, God willing, if they want to. What up? But this is wild crafted Caribbean sea moss. Now, it said on the description, I believe that this is from Grenada. I believe so. But you can see how thin it is. And there's actually, there's not any salt. All right. There's no salt. I would open it up, but honestly, I don't need it right now. I still have some sea moss in my refrigerator that I'm hoping isn't bad. Actually, I just have a little bit left. But it's actually kind of hard. Okay. It's hard. It's dried. This, you can see it's very squishy, right? Maybe I'll make like a sea moss comparison video in the future, and I'll get like a few different kinds. I'll get like a purple Jamaican, and I'll take this one out and maybe get a couple brands or something like that. But I did just want to show you that there are different qualities of sea moss. I think I did mention that in the video, but if I didn't, there are different qualities, there are different kinds. Of course, farm raised isn't going to have the same nutritional benefit as a wild crafted one. A wild crafted one is going to be much higher in your mineral content than your farm raised ones. Your farm raised ones, I'm sure they're just fine. For people who just want to get a little bit of the mineral benefits into their body. But if you kind of become a sea moss connoisseur, like I'm trying to be, then you're definitely going to want to know all of the differences. So I just wanted to show you guys this, and now, God willing, I can edit the video and upload it for you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave down below if you make sea moss products, if you eat sea moss, if you prefer a particular brand or sea moss from a particular place, please leave all of that down below because I am still learning. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and talk to you guys later. Bye. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to prep it, and I'm going to show you how to make it. So right now is the prepping. So I took it out of the bag, and now I am going to add some spring water. I'm going to add just enough spring water so that I can wash it. Of course, use a bigger bowl if you like. Doesn't bother me none. So anyways, so you can see how cloudy the water is already getting. So I am just washing this off all the sea salts. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start looking for little thingies like this. I mean, it's probably really just a part of the seaweed, but sometimes amongst the seaweed, see like there, you'll find these little tiny black particles. I don't know if you can see that. So you just want to take stuff like that out, you know, because it might just be, you know, little impurities from the ocean or, you know, whatever it may be. So you just want to make sure that you get all of that stuff out. Probably one of the most important things to remember right now about sea moss or Irish moss is that it helps to rid the body of excess mucus. So a lot of upper respiratory infections, things like COVID that can lead to pneumonia, you're going to have a lot of excess buildup in your lungs. So I'm actually going to read this from the website Jamaica Herbal because I thought that they had a really good, just concise way of describing some benefits of sea moss. But they actually said, in addition to its heavy mineral account, sea moss is full of potassium chloride, omega-3 fatty acids, and chlorophyll, the main nutrients responsible for dissolving inflammation or mucus in the respiratory and lymphatic systems. This makes sea moss a natural decongestant. Even better, sea moss contains antiviral and antimicrobial compounds that can help the body fight off infection and support the immune system. It's a must-have for anyone with frequent allergies or experiencing cold or flu-like symptoms. So you could see where this is just going to be really good right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rinse out all of this seawater here. And now when working with sea moss, it's important to use clean water because you actually don't want to contaminate the seaweed. So speaking of, forgot I used my glass for all the nasties. So what's recommended is to always use a spring water or a distilled water, something along those lines, to wash it as well as to soak it. So now this is the point where you're just gonna let it sit. This is the longest prep of it. So you're pretty much just going to add water to it. You wanna make sure it's submerged. So if you need to add a little bit more water, which I probably will, you would just wanna make sure that the sea moss is totally covered. A little bit more, so that should be good. And now you're just gonna let it sit on your countertop overnight. Or if you do this in the morning, then just let it sit until maybe dinner time. So on top of helping rid the body of mucus, it also helps to support the thyroid. It helps with digestive health. It's a mood enhancer. It supports the reproductive health. This is actually known to be a man's drink or man's remedy in Jamaica because it's said to boost the male libido. It's also helps with healthy weight management, and it's packed with essential nutrients. In my last video, I had mentioned the essential minerals that our bodies need. Well, this actually contains 92 of them, which we need about 102. It also helps to support healthy iron levels, joint health. It can help recover after surgery, support overall health. And all of this was taken from JamaicaHerbal.com. So I'll link their website down below because I believe that you can also order sea moss. So I'll come back tomorrow and show you how I finish prepping. So just let sit on your countertop for the rest of the night. Hey everyone. All right. So we are back 24 hours later almost. Yeah, it's probably actually been about 24 hours. So this has definitely sat and soaked longer than it needed to, but you will see it expanded. Obviously the water was totally covering the seaweed yesterday. I ended up adding a little bit more water to it as it started to expand because you still want it to be able to cover. If some of your seaweed ends up sticking up out of the water, it'll dry out and kind of get a little hard and crunchy. But what I do if that happens, instead of just keep filling it up with water because your bowl is only going to be so big, try to get yourself a bowl that is small enough to where it can fit all of your seaweed without being too spread out. That way you can use less water obviously to cover it. So that's why I'm using this bowl here. And I found, all right, see, now that came off during soaking, and it was something that I didn't see yesterday. So you may see little debris like this, so just pick it out. So now what we are going to do is we are going to pretty much empty this, because as you can see, this water is pretty murky here. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty it out. All right, so now that I emptied all of the water, you can definitely see it's much more gooey and, than it was yesterday, where it was, it was still, obviously kind of gelatinous feeling, but it had all that salt water and everything like that. So this is probably more so the texture that you're familiar with when, we think of seaweed. You can see that big old beautiful thing right there. I live by the beach. I grew up on the beach, so I love this kind of stuff. For some people, this might be kind of foreign. I know some herbalists who maybe don't really want to venture out into this kind of stuff. They want to stick with just kind of like their at-home type herbs, things that they can really get anywhere. But I think that God has provided us with so many amazing, beautiful creations that we can gain nutrition from. And there has been studies on the nutritional value of seaweed. Seaweed is a huge part of a lot of Japanese, Chinese cultures, and they're known for having, really wonderful skin and great health. And, I think that the ocean is a beautiful place to, draw some of our nutrients from. An interesting thing about the seaweed is that this actually attaches onto the rocks in the ocean, and so from that it actually absorbs some of the minerals that are on the rocks. And we know that our bodies, depending on your philosophy or religion in life, we know that our bodies are made up of earth, of soil. And so we actually can get a lot of our minerals from things that have the essence of what is in rocks, which is minerals. And so this actually absorbs the minerals that are in the rocks in the ocean. So anywho, I'll definitely try and list down below some of the benefits, some of the resources, maybe where you can study a little bit about this. And maybe I'll even list a few shops that you can possibly buy it from. I've always gotten mine from my local herb shop, so I haven't purchased online, so I won't be able to verify their quality. But a store that I had mentioned yesterday, they actually carry a variety of ones. They carry the wild crafted one and the purple Jamaican one, which I think is just so cool. It is a little bit pricier, because they are going out and harvesting these, but wild crafted is always best. It's going to have probably the highest nutritional value, the most benefits in it. But, if you want to just start using this and you're just getting whatever you can get your hands on, as long as you feel comfortable with your supplier, then, that's okay. I think some people are just kind of freaked out about, certain contaminants that could possibly be in the ocean. So Now that I'm done talking, now I do have my camera zoomed in, so this will be a little bit more difficult, but you know, you'll get the gist. So I have my trusty blender. So now I am using a Vitamix. I have pretty much like the cheapest Vitamix that they have, you know, but it works. It is a repurposed one, so I do find that sometimes the motor, if I'm doing something too challenging, the motor will actually kind of burn out. But then if I come back like 10 minutes later, the motor reboots up. The nice thing about Vitamix blenders, and probably one of the reasons why they tend to be a little bit pricey, is because if the motor actually feels like it's going to, you know, poop out, it'll actually just turn off. It has a setting in it that it'll just turn off, you know, so that you don't actually fully break your blender. So I will say that this is definitely probably something that you want to do in a really high quality blender, something that's really gonna grind it down. If you just have like a cheapo blender, do the best you can, blend it, stop for a little while, maybe re-blend it again, stop for a little while. You might have to blend it a few times to get it down to the texture that I'm gonna get it down to today, but you know, God willing, I'm sure any blender will be fine, but most of the posts and everything that I've seen does recommend to do more of like a high speed blender, you know, something like a Vitamix. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and you're going to add your seaweed to your blender, and you're going to add just enough water. And now you can really add as much water as you want, right? You can add, if you want it to be a little bit more watery, that's fine. You want it to be a little bit thicker, almost like a jelly or a jam consistency, add a little bit less, and then you'll just scoop it out with a spoon. But if you want it to be just a, you know, a little more kind of finger pliable, you know, something that, yeah, it just has a little bit more liquid in it, just add a little bit more water. Speaking of, with the amount of sea moss that is in my blender, I filled up water so that it covers about half of the sea moss. So you'll be able to see the texture of mine, and I will say it does thicken up overnight. So, you know, don't judge it from the first eye's view after you blend it. It will thicken up overnight. All right, so I zoomed out for you guys so that you can see a little bit more of it. So I just want to show you the texture after I am done blending. So probably altogether I blended for about 3 minutes, and I kept bringing the speed higher and higher and higher until I got to about the speed 6. If you have a Vitamix, you know it goes like 1 to 10. So this is the texture I am left with. Look at, it's pretty thick. I know you can't really see at the angle, but you can see how it's slopping. You see that? And so it's pretty thick right now. This is actually a little bit thicker than last time I made it. But this texture would actually be amazing if you were wanting to use this on your skin. This would be really nice and cooling for your skin, a really nice kind of sensory experience. If it was waterier than this for your skin, it might not be as pleasant. So I'm actually going to put a little bit to the side for myself to start experimenting with some skin mask. I'm going to be putting it into a mason jar here, you know, so for it to be kind of like that gelatinous, it might be a little bit more difficult to get out of here. So yeah, so anyways, this is pretty much it, guys. So I'll, you know, show it to you once I put it in the jar, you know, but this is it, guys. So pretty easy, and just add it to smoothies or some banana ice cream, or, you know, even some fruit juice. Shake it up a little bit. You're really not going to taste it once you mix it with something that, you know, is flavorful, sweet fruit. Just make sure that if you do decide to use it in a beverage that you have to add a sweetener, please don't add sugar, you know, because then you're kind of taking away from some of the beautiful benefits that you're getting from this sea moss. If you want to sweeten this in something, you know, add it to some almond milk or even to some raw dairy milk or something like that. Try and use something blended up with some majdoul. Yeah, blend it up with some honey, some majdoul dates, some agave, some organic maple syrup or something like that. Try and stay away from, you know, granulated sugar and things like that. So anyways, hopefully you guys liked the tutorial.